I am Mohammad Fahad with my colleagues Basil, Arif, and Bilal. I am presenting a topic which is leadership effectiveness analysis. We are preparing this as a strategy consultancy report, especially for the institution of directors. This is not just another academic report. Uh, we are addressing a real challenge that organizations face today. Our group has spent considerable time researching whether certain leadership style acquired work better than others, which is something every directors and managers need to understand about that. Now I am moving to another slide, which is introduction and case study overview. So let's dive into why this matters. We are taking a fundamental question, why leadership, and there is any specific style of any outcomes others. This might sound simple, but it's actually complex. Think about that. Every organization look for effectiveness leaders. You most struggle to develop them. Here, what catch attention 80% of executives and strengthen leadership, that is priority. But here is shocking parts less than 20% organized believe that leadership programs actually works. That's a massive gap between the companies what we achieve. We specifically address institution directors members because we once make a critical leadership decision, the research significantly is huge. We are not looking the theories, we are examining the real world performance access these theories. Now I am moving to the third slides, which is about the contents and research approaches. Let me paint the picture with the research is so timely. Nearly half of today's workforce, 49.7%, consists of millennials and Gen Z employees. The generations have completely different expectations and leadership compared to provide the generation that want pursue the transparency and authentic leadership. But here the concerning reality 56% of employees are report work as a toxic CEO image. That more than half workers are dealing with the hard time dealing with the leadership criteria unhealthy environment. Even more alarming, 40% CEO actually possess the leadership talent needed to drive business growth. This is not just a nice boss. It's having the skill actually develop the leading organization forward. Our research approaches were comprehensive. We conducted a systematic literature review to prove the review studies of 2020 to 2025. We are looking at the most current research available. We are analyzing the quantitative performance data across the different leadership styles, examine the consent factors and individual effectiveness. Now I am moving on the fourth slide, which is about the theoretical framework, leadership effectiveness, and the model. In this slide, I am just going to explain. Now, let me explain a theoretical function. We develop an integrity leadership effectiveness framework that show how different elements interact. Think of a roadmap for the understanding leadership. We identify four key factors that matter: organization, cultural, industry dynamics, team composition, and environmental uncertainty. These are just academic concepts. These are the real factors that determine whether a leadership style will work in a specific situation. The leadership style focused on a transformational, transcriptional, and the different documentational programs. Each has the distance characteristics and works differently depends on the contents. Between the contents and outcomes, we have variable employees engagement, motivation, trust, communication, and there is a bridges that can leadership believes to acquire the results. Now I am invite to my colleague to continue this presentation.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Mohammad Bilal, and my topic is leadership styles, definitions, and characteristics. I will be walking you through the different leadership styles and we analyze. Let me break these down in simple terms because understanding these distinctions is crucial for any leader. Transformational leadership is about inspiring people toward a shared vision. These leaderships are charismatic, they provide individual consideration to followers and they have ideological influence. They are ones who says let's change the world together and somehow make you believe it's possible. Transactional leadership is more straightforward. It's about structure, rewards, and clear expectations. These leaders operate, you do this, you get that basis, and setting clear goals, providing concrete rewards. It's not necessarily inspiring, but it's clearly and predictable. Servant leadership flips traditional leadership on its head and stand follow me. It how can I serve you? These leaders prioritize forward development, practice, and stewardship, and focus on building community. Democratic leadership is about participation and collaboration. These leaders involve teams in decision, consistencies, and input rather than top-down directives. The next slide, please. Data analyzes leadership style effectiveness. And now let's look 156 studies from 2020 to 2025. This is not just opinions, it's evidence-based research. These results are quite revealing. Transformational leadership shows at 42% increase in employee engagement with the strong shows 42% performance correlation of 0.68 significant at the highest level. What interesting that it deliver 18% higher retention rates. Servant leadership comes in second with a 38% increase employee engagement, 0.61 performance correlation, but 22% the suggest which leaders truly serve, follow, and people want to say. Democratic leadership shows a 31% increase in engagement with 0.55 performance and correlation 15% higher retention. Transactional leadership, while still positive, shows modest results like 15% increase in engagement, 0.42 performance correlation, and 8% higher education. Next slide, please. Transformational leadership, performance, and analysis. Let me dive deeper into transformational leadership because it consistently shows the strongest results across and analysis. Employee motivation increased by 45% under transformational leadership. This is not just about feeling good, motivated employees are more productive, creative. The innovation like index increases by 38% and crucial in today's rapidly changing business environment. Team cohesion improves by 41%. Organizational commitment by increases 36%. But what makes transformational leadership work? It's build compelling picture of the future and help people see their role. Leaders genuinely care about each person's development and it involves intellectual simulation, encouraging people think differently and innovative. The next slide, please. Servant leadership, empirical evidence. Servant leadership deserves special attention because it produces some unique benefits and the sustainable ethical organizational cultures. The data shows being 44% in today's world, which burn out mental health and major concerns, level increases by 52%. The ethical climate improves by 39% and team performance increases by 33%. The might seem like software metrics, but they are actually predictors of long-term organizational success. These leaders see themselves as custodians of their organization and their people, not just commanders. Thank you very much. The next person is Basil.
Yes, Basil, please carry on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Basil. I'll be discussing how leadership effectiveness depends on operation. Where clear position and consistency execution are. So again, this is industrial where compliance and following established procedure are ethical for success and regulatory requirements. Healthcare shows a 9.5.9 rating with 0.44 correlation, particularly effective in emergency situations where quick and decisive action following established protocol can lie. Next slide, please. Democratic leadership, particip- participative effectiveness. Democratic leadership shows interesting pattern, especially in its impact on decision quality and employee satisfaction. When we look at teams decision making, democratic leadership improve participation by 41%, increases employee satisfaction by 34%, and delivers to it of better outcome. Employees' voice, the ability for people to speak up and contribute, improved by 47% under democratic leadership. This is crucial because research shows that organizations where employee feels heard performs better and are more innovative. Next slide, please. Factors that affect situational leadership. This slide really drives home our key finding: context, narrative, emotionality. Let me walk you through the different situational factors and how they affect leadership effectiveness. During crisis management, transitional leadership score highest at 8.5 out of 10. People need inspiration, vision during tough time. Traditional leadership score 8.6.8, which is decent because crises requires clear procedure. Democratic leadership score lowest at 4.1 because crisis often requires quick decision rather than consensus building.
Hello, Basil. If you don't mind, your voice is too much cut.
For
No, it's okay.
innovation
Please
project,
carry on.
for innovation projects, transformational leadership excel at 8.9, closely followed by servant leadership at 8.3, democratic leadership at 8.1. This ties fosters creativity and risk taking. Traditional leadership score poorly 3.2 because innovation requires flexibility and rigid procedure. But here is what is interesting. For routine operation, traditional leadership dominates at 8.7 out of 10. This is where clear procedure, concept execution, and predictable outcome matters most. Cultural change initiates favor transitional leadership at 9.2 and servant leadership at 8.8. This situation requires inspiration, trust building, and long-term commitment to new ways of thinking. Next slide, please. Analytical tools and research methods. Let me explain our research methodology because it is important to understand how we reach our conclusion. We use a comprehensive mixed method approach. For quantitative analysis, we conduct a meta-analysis of 156 studies from 2020 to 2025. We use correlation analysis to understand relationship between leadership style and outcomes. Our qualitative analysis includes thematic analysis of case studies, qualitative analysis of leadership stories, grounded theory approach to identify pattern, and phenomenological interpretation to understand life experience. We also use approach, mixed method approach, including data triangulation to verify finding through multiple sequential explanation designed to build understanding progressively and embed case studies to provide rich contextual understanding. Our statistical significance testing methodology we used for high significance. We also calculated effect size using coherence to understand practical significance and not just statistical significance. Thank you. And I'll be handing over to my next colleague, Mohammed Arif, to continue the next slide.
Hey everyone, the slide is the bigger picture leadership in contemporary context. Hey everyone, I am Muhammad Arif and I will be wrapping up our presentation by putting this research in contemporary context. The leadership challenges we face today are unprecedented in their complexity and scope. Digital transformation is hitting organizations at high impact levels, requiring leaders who are adaptive and takes away. It's not enough to understand traditional businesses. Modern leaders need to navigate artificial intelligence, remote work technologies, and rapidly evolving digital landscape. Generational diversity is another high impact challenge. We have 4 generations working together, each with different value, communication style, and expectations. Leaders need inclusive and flexible approaches that can motivate our 22-year old recent graduate, our 58-year-old senior executive simultaneously. Remote work management, while currently a medium impact, is reshaping how we think about leadership. Virtual leadership requires different competencies than face-to-face leadership. Leaders need to build trust, maintain engagement, and drive performance across distributed teams. Sustainability demands are creating high-impact challenges requiring ethical and long-term thinking. Stakeholders expect leaders to consider environmental, social, and governance factors in their decisions. Economic uncertainty continues to create high-impact challenges require resilient and agile leadership. Leaders need to navigate volatile markets, changing regulations, and unpredictable business conditions. The key insight is that only 18% organizations consider their leaders very effective at meeting organizational goals. This is not just a training problem, it's fundamental challenges about developing adaptive leadership capabilities. Next slide. Short-term and long-term recommendations. Based on our research, we have specific recommendations for the Institute of Directors for short-term implementation over the next 0 to 12 months. We recommend starting with assessment and diagnosis. Conduct 360-degree leadership assessment to understand current capabilities and gaps. Do not just measure leadership in general. Identify specific situation context and understand what leadership challenges are most relevant to your organization and industry. Implement targeted development programs based on context. If your organization is focused on innovation, invest in transformational leadership training. If employee engagement is your priority, develop servant leadership skills. The key is matching development to situational needs. For long-term recommendations spanning 1 to 3 years, focus on integration and cultural alignment. Develop multi-style leadership competency framework that prepare leaders for different. Coming to the next slide. The conclusion and strategic implications. Let me conclude with our key findings and their strategic implications. Our research definitely shows that leadership effectiveness depends on context, followers, and situational demands. There is no universal leadership style that works in all situations. However, transformational leadership constantly correlates with performance across diverse contexts. This does not mean it's always the best choice, but it's a reliable foundation for leadership development. Servant leadership offers unique benefits for employees' well-being and long-term sustainability. While it might not always produce the highest short-term performance metrics, it creates conditions for sustained success. The most important conclusion is that leaders need to master a range of leadership behaviors and adopt them to specific contexts. This is not about choosing one style, it's about developing the flexibility to apply different approaches as situations demand. For the Institute of Directors, this means developing adaptive leadership capabilities rather than promoting any single leadership style. Invest in assessment tools that help match leadership approaches to situational demand. Establish frameworks for continuous leadership development that evolve with changing business context. Encourage leaders to experiment with different approaches and learn from both success and failures. The future belongs to adaptive leadership who can navigate complexity with the multiple leadership tools at their disposal. Thank you for your attention. We have be happy to answer any question about our research and recommendations. Thank you.